What's going on, everybody? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing, getting ready here for our New York session, taking a look at the markets. It is an explosive session, a lot to cover today. I'm really looking forward to this one. Of course, a lot of excitement going on with Bitcoin, but let's look also at the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. Oh, we're going to have to talk about that. I'm kicking myself on that one. It is an animal, Jackie. Of course. Of course. Of course, we need to talk about Bitcoin and what's going on with Bitcoin. We need to talk about, oh, you know what? There we go. We need to talk about the potential difficulty adjustment coming up on Thursday. Things are looking nice, though, as far as that. Happy to see you all, looking forward to today's session and getting into this. Good morning, sunny England. Is that even possible, Chris? Benson, good morning. Young Thing Su, thank you for bringing that practicality. We cannot FOMO. But I will talk about Bitcoin first. But I'm kicking myself for missing this. I'm going to really go over this and talk about this and talk about my failure in not being involved in this. You all know how I love these multi-year trend breakouts. I feel like, and I said it earlier, I feel like Michael Jordan when he gets mad and then ups his game. Now, there's a difference between getting emotional and getting mad, using that anger, that discomfort as a way to focus. That's harnessing something that's different than emotional. All right. Meg, you know what? We'll speak briefly about the demonstrations, but here's the thing, everyone, and this is really important. I woke up this morning and I was looking at the news. I was looking at the videos on Twitter, and I got sick to my stomach about what's happening over in the US. You know, I have kids. How do you explain that to them? So listen, you have to be aware of the news, but I don't want to get absorbed in it. We'll talk about how it could affect the markets briefly. But we want to focus here on the charts. We want to focus at what's relevant. All right, so let's start off with Bitcoin. How about that? Oh, before we do, hot and sunny. Come on, hot and sunny in the UK. All right, that's awesome. All right, it's Bitcoin. So pretty cool that, first of all, it broke out of our little pattern that we were looking at. And what did we say would happen when it broke out of the pattern? It would come up into this resistance. Now, two things of notice, right? You all know I'm excited, I'm happy, but I'm not calling it a bull market yet. We got one more leg up before we call this thing a bull market. I want to show you what happened. We had in, obviously, our trend line, right? I was talking about the fact that this was the correct trend line. Look what happened. We came up into the resistance, magic resistance line over 10,400. That's where we peaked. And then you can see us right now closing right at the trend line resistance. It's still resistance. It hasn't been broken. The resistance held at 10,400. This trend line resistance is also holding. And you can see that we're now consolidating under it. Once we break, I've always said Endor, right? Once we break above here and close above it, the bull market will have begun. We are very, very close. It is very exciting, and I'm happy about it. But we are, we're not officially calling it a bull market just yet. We will soon. We've been all over it, that's for sure, right? I want you to bring your attention to this, though. So the way that the Bitcoin, it's like the Facebook, the way that the Bitcoin blockchain works is actually, even though the halving was over here, the difficulty adjustment doesn't come up to some time later. We're looking at Thursday. Thursday will be when the next difficulty adjustment comes into the blockchain. That's what's going to cause the last little bit of into the miners that are inefficient, right? That could provide a little bit of a speed bump here. So what are two things that could happen from here? Well, I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if we came up here and broke out and the bull market began. Completely on the table as it's always been. Or you're right, we could also come back down and test this area, this trend line over here, which has been resistance. That might firm up as support, and then we come out and break out. Again, every day, and I started saying that it was after this dump. This was a 19% dump right after the halving. That's a pretty big dump. And then after that, what happened? We came back over here, and then I was like, wait, I think there's less of a chance of us actually seeing a bigger dump because of what's been happening with the Bitcoin supply. Not only is every Bitcoin mined since the halving been bought up by one on-ramp, Grayscale, 50% more. So between Grayscale and Square's Cash App, two on-ramps providing enormous vacuum of whatever new Bitcoin comes onto the market. This is looking good, but we're not going to call it our Bitcoin celebration day. Yep. So Marco, this is a really important comment. So I want to highlight that and talk about that for a minute, because you're saying that, you wanted to drop more so that you could buy more, right? As does everyone. And so here's the thing though, like if you step back a second, this is the weekly chart I'm looking at on a log scale. Let me get off the log scale. I was showing my 7-year-old daughter the Bitcoin charts last night, and then the gold charts. And then I was showing her the Mexican peso chart. And I was like, look, Mexican peso constantly loses value ever since inception. Now look at Bitcoin. So look at this. You have the next 5, 6, 7 months to accumulate Bitcoin, right? Our trajectory is that by the end of this year, some people are already talking about, in the next 17 days, we can make all new time highs. That's not my research shows. My research shows by December of this year, we should be somewhere around, I don't think we'll be testing, it's possible, but somewhere around the all-time high, probably early next year when we take it out. So you have all of this time, the next 5 months, to accumulate Bitcoin. And from my perspective, $15,000 Bitcoin is cheap, and so is $18,000 Bitcoin. I'm using the rest of this time to continue to accumulate. All right. There's no question that from time to time the US dollar affects the price of Bitcoin. Yep. But there's also no question that Bitcoin is an uncorrelated asset in its own 4-year cycle. And we're about to hit the bullish end of that cycle. All right, let's keep going over here because we got a lot to talk about and a lot to cover today. We're going to start over here with, we got the Bitcoin adjustment up there for you. Peter Schiff says something here that's pretty important today. And he said, what's happening in the streets of American cities will soon happen in the Forex markets. Confidence in the legal system and social contract is breaking down as order is replaced by chaos. When confidence in the dollar is lost, the breakdown of the monetary order will be chaotic. And that's really important. I don't think that it's, this is something that's going to be unraveling tomorrow, but look around you. It is in the process of happening. It's important to take into mind what he said. Yeah, Kent, I'm betting on my Bitcoin prediction. I have a significant portion of my family's wealth in it. I am betting on that, Ken, big time. And you have the opportunity too to bet on it any way you want. That's funny, Ken. That's really so anyway, what Peter's saying here is really important and true. And now we're all have to be familiar with everything going on. Is it possible that as the system breaks down, the dollar strengthens? I believe so. But just be prepared. Be prepared. You could see how quickly the social fabric inside the United States is really unraveling right now. And that will also happen in the monetary system. That's what he's highlighting. And that's the truth. So if you haven't thought about that, think about that. By the way, before we get off Bitcoin, let's take a look at Raoul Pal. By the way, he's the founder of Real Vision. This guy for the last 12 to 18 months has been all over the movement in the financial system, probably better than anyone else. So if you're not following Raul and or Real Vision, do that. He's taking a look at some Bitcoin charts. He's saying it's no big deal. Look at this pattern that's breaking out over here. Look at our log scale, right? This guy knows what's up. He did bring out, he's actually becoming a fan of Ethereum, right? I'm not. I do believe it could outperform. I spoke about that yesterday. I do believe it could outperform Bitcoin. If you take a look at what's going on over here, this is a chart of, what is he looking at over here? This is Ethereum. You can see that over here, it's basing out. Look at this base it's putting in. Once it breaks out from here, woo, he's now looking at Bitcoin, Ether versus Bitcoin. And yeah, like yesterday I said on the stream, there's no question that Ethereum could outperform Bitcoin. I prefer to play Bitcoin. And he went on to say no tribal attacks. These are two different ecosystems, right? He pointed out Galaxy by Michael Novogratz, as we spoke about yesterday. He's friends with him. He's like, basically, it's the only thing I know. But most importantly, and the last thing when it comes to Bitcoin that I want to check out with you is this chart. This is the single most important chart. It's a screensaver on my computer. It's the single most important chart you could look at. And here's why. And but by the way, before we say here's why, look what happened. We just went red. Now, there's only 2 other 4-year cycles to look at, but each time we go red, that is the beginning of the bull market phase. Now we're looking on the charts. We got a few $100 more until we call it a bull market. But the red dot has printed. That's the sign of the bull market. How we know when we're going to sell? How do we know when we're going to sell? Look what happens here when we go from orange, medium orange to yellow, medium orange to yellow, right? When there's about, what, 27 months to the halving, what are we doing? We're getting the heck out of Bitcoin because it's about to go uber bear and go off 80, 85%. This is the single most important chart in the markets that I know of. All right. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Today, before we keep going, before we keep going, we got ahead and we launched over here. We have 20 more slots. I know it's been about almost 2.5, 3 weeks since we had any room in the program. I went ahead and I did open up 20 slots today. Anyone who's looking to go ahead and get into the program, this is the opportunity. I love the movement in the market today. Big fan. JC, should you FOMO in? I don't think it's FOMOing at this point. I think Bitcoin is personally cheap. I think that if you are looking for lower prices, here's when you had lower prices. This was capitulation. This is where we were buyers. Over here, I said, what? Order 8,200. Bink, filled. Right? This is the accumulation. If we get any movement down here, if we hit back towards 9,000, 91, it's a buy point now. I'm moving up buy orders. Over here, I still have orders in at 85 and 82. They're all buy orders. If I didn't own Bitcoin, would I buy here right now? Absolutely, no question about it. All right, that's enough Bitcoin. Yeah, so Bart, but by the way, Bart, excellent thought, excellent comment. It's worth all of us taking a minute to discuss. And Bart saying Raul expects deflation. It doesn't make sense when government just put money into people's pockets while services and supply chains are disrupted. High demand, low supply equals price up inflation. And that's a great comment, Bart. And you know what? I tried to. I had in the S&P video to talk about actually deflation and to talk about how ever since the Fed has started QE and started the expansion of the balance sheet, that only increases deflation. I know that we all think that means inflation, and it's entirely possible we're going to wake up one morning and then like a fire that just started from gasoline, inflation's going to be here. That's entirely possible, especially as we get closer to one day. MMT being when the government is just financing its debt completely. That's completely possible that we are going to wake up to some hyperinflation that's in the cards. I think it's going to be a little while further yet before we have MMT in the United States. I do think that that why inflation or hyperinflation is something for us all to be concerned about. We are in an enormous deflationary environment, and you have to understand QE equals deflation. I will try to lay this out for all of you in a presentation. It's really important. But right now, QE equals deflation and has ever since it started, especially ever since 2008. All right, let's keep going over here. Davidson, wonderful to see you over here today. Great to see everybody. S&P 500. What's it doing again? It's just this is where we need to talk about the riots for a moment, and we need to stay completely not political about it. So by the way, a couple of things that are really important as we keep going. This is the furthest that we've gone into a live session without being able to get into the charts. But hey, we got a lot of important topics to cover today. One of them is this, by the way. This is going to be really quick. But there's this report out of Italy where this Italian doctor is basically saying that coronavirus no longer exists in the country. He's saying that the swabs that they're performing over the last 10 days show a viral load in quantitative terms that was basically insignificant compared to the ones carried out a month or two ago. The country's ready to go back to normal. You have to be aware of it. I don't know what it means. I don't know that if that means perhaps in the fall that maybe things could increase, where if it's decreasing, maybe it increases in strength. I don't know. This is really important when we're talking about everything being awesome, because right now we're going to look at the yen in a minute. Everything is completely awesome in the markets, right? Everything is awesome. Over here, you're talking about California is looking to allow small businesses, restaurants, cafes to walk away from any lease contracts they are in. The consequences that will have on a greater commercial scale is absolutely significant. I don't know if anyone has thought that through, right? So all of the chaos that this lockdown has caused is going to have severe consequences. And I looked at a report from the government's budget office yesterday, and the US government is projecting it will take 10 years to recover from the pandemic. Everything is awesome. I am a doctor, and in the fall we will get, that's what I believe too. I strongly believe that. I strongly am with you. I'm not a doctor. I strongly believe it though. So by the way, everything is normal, right? So everything is great. What happens if the Fed decides to stop QE? I have to look at all with you the QE purchases, which since they began, what were they, like 60 or 70 billion dollars a day, are now less to 5 billion a day. When is the bond market going to start freaking out, and therefore the stock market, as the Fed starts taking away more and more money? You all remember what happened when quantitative tightening started after 10 years of expansion. Markets freaked out right away, right? What's going to happen? Could the governments keep this printing going on forever as everything returns to normal? There's a lot of risks in the market. Right now, everyone thinks the greatest risk is not being involved on this move up. There was an amazing piece from Stanley Druckenmiller that I read the other day that said, you know what? I'll share that with you in this afternoon's video. It's really important. It has more to do with this current situation we're here on the S&P. So that's where I'll focus it right now. Right now here on the S&P, what's going on? Futures are lit up. Markets open in about 10 minutes. Again, I laughed when I saw the futures up this morning. The what's going on in the US is absolutely horrific. It's absolutely horrific. It's absolutely horrific. Right? There's nothing else to say about that right now. Excuse me, it's a bit coffee over here. All right, what are we looking at the S&P? Where S&P is peaking out towards the top of our range again. Towards the top of our range. New York is where it's at. Let's see what they do with it today. We've seen over and over again over the past week, New York take this down. And then Asia and London go ahead and drift this up. Why is that happening? I'm not exactly sure, personally. I don't think that it's foreign capital leaving Europe coming to the US. I don't know why it is. I'm looking here right now. Listen, I don't have an opinion on this or a trade. I'm obviously not a buyer up here, and I will not be a buyer up here. Is this the moment right here to go short? I'm not looking to take a position right now. I want to see what's going on with the market. And then in the next 15, 20 minutes, we're going to be able to get our pulse on it and find out what we're looking to do. Let's take a look around over here. Let's start off with gold. Gold is looking fantastically. This is the environment gold thrives on, especially. So gold is pricing in. Gold is pricing here what's going on in the US a little bit more than the markets are. FX, I'm completely surprised at. FX is completely pricing in risk on right now across the board. FX is usually correct. So I don't know what to make of that. Spam. Yeah, listen, the market's not really focused in on any type of data right now. If you saw any really big hit or miss manufacturing numbers, that might play any type of effect, but we don't even need to talk about that. That's not something that's really in our focus or going to really that I believe right now will affect the markets. We covered that anyway over the weekend when we looked at the plan for the week ahead. All right, I'm sorry I got thrown off there a little bit. Let's get back into this. Gold is looking fantastic. I unfortunately, after going long over here right around 1710, got stopped out yesterday at 1727. That looked like almost the low tick, and now we're back up challenging the highs. This looks awesome. It looks great. I am not looking to go ahead and get into gold just yet. However, if I was holding gold, if I was still in this trade, I would not be looking to sell it whatsoever. I would now be looking to move my stop back a couple of dollars from where I was stopped out, lock that in over here at below that swing low over here. But I would be holding and continue to hold. When will I look for a new trade on gold? I don't know. I'm going to wait for it to figure out what it's doing and consolidate a little bit. Good morning, DJ. Silver also, this looks super nice. Look at this pattern over here. You should all be able to see it yourself. If I come down onto a 4-hour, you could probably even see it better. That normally leads to a break up higher, doesn't it? Right? I'm becoming a fan of silver. That's for sure. As it's getting here ready to push out to new yearly highs. Yeah, Aaron, that's a good question. That's a good question. FX is normally right. So here we go over here. This is looking like it's getting ready to break up to the upside. Just taking it all in, absorbing it. Just taking it all in, absorbing it. We're going to paint the picture right now and find out what this takes us. Dollar off its low so far since New York, ever for about the last 30 minutes or so. Nope, for the last hour and a half or so. Dollar off its lows. We'll watch what happens. It is looking technically pretty bad. Not much else to say about it right now. The dollar right now is out of favor. I don't believe that has anything to do. I don't believe it has anything to do with the riots in the U.S. We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with the dollar. Does the gold miners have potential for gold futures? Not exactly sure. Are you asking if the gold miners future looks golden? I don't play the gold miners at all. I'm not actually someone who could talk about them because I'm not going to talk about something that I do not know well enough to talk about. But I know that a lot of people are absolutely bullish on the miners, probably rightfully so. I'm bullish on precious metals. All right, let's keep going over here. I got a little sidetracked in my thought process. I want to bring that back in. Let's check out what WTTI is doing this morning. I thought it looked good over here to the downside over here. That quickly was definitely retraced to the upside. And I said it looked good. I said I wasn't going to take it. It's all about discernment, finding out what you're going to take. But I was definitely wrong on that. We came back up, and right away, that's the thing about it is, though. The thing about it is if you take trades like that in a downtrend, pulled back into strong resistance with a good risk to reward, that's all you need to do to make a living in this game. You just got to have that discipline. What do you say now? Well, it looks pretty good as it's coming up above this support over here, actually, right? This resistance broke into support. It looks like it's already confirmed that. Staying away now until we get back up into this attack zone, and we'll see what happens. Bitcoin we already covered, looks fantastic. Kevin, so that's a really good question that's come up a few times about the US dollar. What does a breakdown in the dollar mean for US equities and vice versa? Now, if you rewind a little bit and you go back to this period, we were watching before the crash, we were watching as the US dollar was climbing and very, very strong. And then we're seeing equities trade at all-time highs. A lot of people had been talking, and with gold, the dollar, gold, and equities were all strong. Now, how long that could last is one thing. But you know, people have been talking about this possibly happening for a long time. When you're seeing a strong dollar, strong gold, and also you were seeing strong equities, that also is definitely part of excuse me, Brent Johnson's milkshake theory, when all three of those things could happen. So if you were seeing a weak dollar, as far as a weak dollar, which we're not seeing right now at all, dollar trading at 97.5 is not even close to being weak. But if we were seeing a weak dollar where the dollar was being inflated away, you know, its value was actually being lost compared to other currencies, you would then probably see the stock market rising in value, right? Although the store of value would not be held. It would be held more in gold or Bitcoin than in the equity markets. But the equity like the Venezuelan equity markets, their stock markets, as the currency went down to be worthless, their stock market was trading at all-time highs. Nathan, well, so I've recently have used and recommend BlockFi, right? I've used a lot of different crypto brokers, but I had a great experience recently with BlockFi, and it was a simple, simple verification and wire transfer in. Buying WTI isn't a bad option right now, right? Anaya, totally, and absolutely, it's just not my thing. Even since down here, we were talking about this looked like a good buy and breaking above here, right? It's just not, I don't want to be long. I personally do not want to be long oil. All right. Where are we at? Let's keep going. Let's keep this going. Yeah. Anyone got any good books that could recommend for Eric? I know Davidson absolutely does have the best. Do I have, let me see if I have his recommendations. Davidson, if you're listening, I know that if you have the text to those wonderful recommendations you offered, I highly would love to share them with everyone. Please do so, or send it to me, or otherwise I will do that as homework tonight and get that out for you. The strength is coming off in the yen. Is that what you're saying? The strength is coming. Oh, the yen is very weak right now, Gino. It's so weak. That's why I said FX is absolutely pricing in this recovery. We're going to look at that all right now. Let's get into it. Let me start off though with the S&P. And a sip of matcha. A sip of matcha, will you? All right. So sometimes it's better. Sometimes it's better to wait for a little bit of confirmation. don't want to look to pick tops or anything like that. Every time we protrude above this trend line over here, it's a sign of weakness. We're above there now. The risk to the upside, I don't care what y'all think, is not there. So we'll let that develop. Let's take a look at some yen pairs. The yen is absolutely on fire. We'll start with the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. And this is, when I say the yen's on fire, I mean the yen is actually burning. Look at this though. Step back over here. I'm really actually upset at myself, for real, for missing this trade. This is the trend line that was going back to a year. When it broke above, I love trend line breaks like this that go back multi-years. I tried to play this to the long side over here. US-China relations came into trouble. We went really risk off over here. And it was a failed breakout of the trend line. Twice we went into crisis mode. And now we're back above this trend line over here. And this is our textbook setup right here. Break of the resistance into the resistance. And then right there is the entry. This wasn't on my radar. This wasn't on my radar. Coming into this resistance, what are you doing now? I know that I know Brad is holding this with the stop loss at break even. What are you doing? What are you looking for? It's hard for me to say, right? We have a lot of momentum here against the yen. Is it enough to break this big level today, right? Is it enough to look at this huge level? It's thick for a reason. It's thick for a reason. Look at that. If we break above that level, look how far we've come into it. Already up 1.5, 1.6% today on the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. I mean, this is pricing in a recovery. And listen, it's hard to argue with it. You know, how would you manage the position? Anyone who's listening right now, how would you manage this position today? Right? I'm more thinking about, for me, what I'm looking at is what happened over here. This is my go-to setup. And this wasn't on my radar at the time. And because I didn't have this trend line extended. And this is what I am focused on, because I should not have missed this. And if you saw Michael Jordan's The Last Dance, you could see this guy was a superstar, elite, the best in the game. And what he always did, he was able to find things to use to help his focus. This is exactly what I'm doing with the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. That's why I'm looking at it so long and so focused on it, because I'm going to use this and missing this trade that I should not have missed. I'm using this as inspiration to re-up my game, to re-up my focus. But I ask all of you right now, what would you be doing up here today? What would you be doing? Are you looking for this to push through this resistance this morning? The market, I love this theory. I love this comment. Market-wise, at some point, reality catches up with fiction. That's the seat I'm in. That's the seat I'm in for sure. No, I don't use market orders to enter a trade ever. I use buy and sell stops to enter into my position. That's for sure. Yep. So listen, absolutely right. You know, it's not logical what's happening right now in the markets. No question about that. That doesn't mean we're going to fight the tape though, right? That's where we come back down to the charts. What about this? What about this? This is the euro versus the Japanese yen. By the way, is the yen so weak today? Really, just completely on risk on, or is there anything else going on over there? I'm not exactly sure. Is this actually the end of the move? Normally at the end of a move, you see really big capitulation. You saw that on the way down. If you look at let me show you just a couple examples really quick. Look over here. This was the end of the move. Look at these gasps to the upside over here. That was the end of the move. Look at the Australian dollar, Japanese yen over down here. Is this the end of the move over here to the upside? I'm not trying to pick a top or call it. I'm just simply asking the question. I have to say though, 121 on the euro Japanese yen becomes very attractive here for me. Very attractive. This is actually going to the top of my watch list when I start seeing a reversal at any type of resistance, which we're into now. We're into resistance right now, right? You could just follow my mouse and you could see that right now we're up at resistance. And any type of entry I get here on the euro Japanese yen at these levels, what's going to happen with the euro? I don't know. We have the ECB actually meeting on Thursday. That's actually going to be a big meeting. Careful here on the press conference. We're going to find out what they're thinking. But at the end of the day, the fracture in the EU is growing and growing and growing. All right. About the super strong Swiss franc. There you go. And I like being on the same side of the trade as you. All right, let's keep going over here. We need to, I want to look at a few more Japanese yen pairs this morning. New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen does not look as technically sound as the Australian dollar, Japanese yen, right? Not at all. Look at this piece over here. We're coming in right now. Let me draw in this. This like might be setting up here for a little bit of a tasty. There's always opportunity in the markets. There's always opportunity in the markets. Look at this. That's a nice area of resistance we're coming into. Right around there. We're coming into it now. Look back. Huge downtrend. That's attractive. Yep. SPX, this could be the day. This could be the day. She's rolling over. It's hard for me to find an entry right now, though. It's hard for me to find an entry. Right? Because the entry should have been up here. So I'm not looking. What am I doing? I don't even have a plan right now, right here. So I'm waiting for something to develop. I'm waiting for something to develop. Watch this trend line down here. We'll talk it through as the session develops. Right now, I don't have a plan. That means I'm not looking to go ahead and chase the spike down here this morning. Let's see what happens. We'll play it out together, and we'll see what happens. That's all I can say. All right. So, by the way, Kofcog, by the way, this is a great comment here. For the JPI, better wait. I mean, all right, this is a great comment. First of all, let me share it with you. We better wait for the London close. The yen is way oversold. It may be some repositioning. Japan has very low employment. It means that its recovery will be faster than many other countries. Now, the thing about the London close is that time of day is usually when market reversals happen. And the last half hour into the London close and the last 15 minutes, you see large gasps of price moves. You'll see large extensions of price moves. That is often the peak of the day, for sure. It's a good time to be looking for trades. Now, for me personally, when I'm looking at these yen setups, I trade on the 8-hour time frame. I am not if these things wind up spiking and wicking down, I'm not going to have an entry into them, because the only way I'll enter these trades is if this resistance holds, and then coming back down tomorrow into London or New York, I get an entry. All right. So I'm right now doing my analysis. I don't think I'm going to have any trades today that enter during New York, but I'm doing my analysis for overnight, the trades that I'm looking to possibly be taking. Now, this could wick down and I'll never have an entry, or it could break above, right? But if it meets my criteria, meaning that we see like this type of price bar during Asia, something like this, and then during London, we come in and we start making the lower low, that will be my entry. All right, so I'm doing my homework right now. I'm setting it all up. Euro, US dollar. We see the first look here at the at the DXY, we need to change a lot of these things into resistance. I need to clean up my chart. I can't believe I have it off like this. We need to get a nice look over here. So I don't pick bottoms and I don't sell tops. I'll tell you what, the turn of the markets, you're not there making money, but most of the time you are. Look at that. It's not looking technically sound. In order to really, we need to get back into that channel for this thing to look better. I'm not a fan of the euro. I still see the euro Japanese yen in a strong downtrend. That's something to look at to play and to attack. But here on the euro US dollar, as we come back up, we took out this really strong resistance over here. Again, I got to clean up these charts as we've seen these big moves now. It's really important for the process to have your charts in order. It really helps your mind see things clearly, and it helps you actually perform better. You can see that strong resistance now flipped. We're coming up into some area of further resistance over here, but is this the time to be looking to short the euro? It's a downtrend just like the euro Japanese yen. Some strong resistance up here. All right. I see you all. I see you all. All right. I'm loving the market right now. I'm loving the market. All right. S&P. Let's see what she's doing. Let's keep tracking her this morning. No FOMO here. Cool, calm, and collected. Right? A break below this trend line over here, which you could see this was resistance. This is local. This is very near term. I like to take positions on the S&P that are intraday that could be turned into swing trades. You can see we broke above and then it didn't hold. Came back above, turned that into support that time. This trend line is so relevant right now, and we come back below it. First sign of continued momentum will be a break below 30.47. Keep that in your mind right now. Let's see what happens. There's no opportunity in this moment for a position, and there's no reason to FOMO. Australian dollar, Japanese yen. Again, that Australian dollar is looking so great today. It is coming back up, taking a poke at a couple of things that happened. When I say a couple of things that happened, you see this trend line channel that we were in. We broke out to the upside and look like we're taking out today this resistance above, coming in at 0.684. Very bullish here. Is this continued dollar weakness going to continue? Is this still a downtrend or is this an uptrend? Right? Longer term, is this an uptrend or a downtrend? Right? It's clearly a downtrend. No question about that. If you look out 6 months from now, is the Australian dollar, US dollar going to be trading higher or lower than this? Right? I think I know the answer, but right now you have to follow the swing trader's perspective. You have to look at what's going on in front of you. And right now this is extraordinarily bullish. There's only reason, to look for this to continue. This level up here is going to be a big level, right? At the 0.703. This back in December or January was where we topped out. It looks like we might be working our way towards there again. Now, could this be rejected over here into this resistance? Yeah, today's a big day. The dollar could have a reversal today. We're definitely watching what could happen over here. If this is rejected by this line, it still maintains its swing perspective. It's very bullish above this trend line over here. It's very, very bullish. Not looking to get in the way of that. But at the same time, we've got strong resistance over here. I would not play this to the downside if this was rejected. You do have other opportunities against the dollar that look better. For example, the euro. All right. What else do we see over here? We have a lot going on. Let's check out the pound US dollar and the pound Japanese yen. And step back, right? It's hard. It's hard. It's hard when you have to follow what's going on in the charts. At the same time, it's hard to get rid of whatever bias you have. And by bias, I mean listen, this doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense to me. There was an article someone shared yesterday about that the recent rally in the stock market was driven by bears and not bulls, and it was a lot of short covering. I don't know that that's true or not. I don't know that that's true or not. Either which way you look at it, there's a lot of money that's been on the sidelines, a lot of smart money, and if that money starts chasing after this, that could provide another leg up. You all know my feeling as we're over here. The risk is not to the risk reward is not to the upside. Let's keep going, see where the opportunity is. So I would like to, I'll take a chance to respond to that, Cough Cog, by the way. So, and I will respond to that. So, which is absolutely, well, first of all, that's not true. The difficult part of how I make money is when the market turns from bull to bear. That's the difficult point. There's no question about that. But when the market's not normal, as everyone who was here during the time remembers, and there was the same 50 people every day. When the market became abnormal and started entering this crisis, I shared my insight. It was no longer the time to be looking for swing trade, that you wanted to turn your trades into position trades and to be holding for a lot longer than normal. And a lot of money was to be had. I kept ingraining every day. Once we broke down over here, the support, once I saw what was happening, listen, now is the time to become position traders. Hold on to your trades, right? So I don't agree with that at all, by the way. I don't agree with that at all. Yeah. Yeah. Are we seeing exhaustion of moves? That's a better word, exhaustion. When I was talking about when at the end of moves, you often see these type of gasps to the upside, you know. Either way, you don't want to listen. This is a difficult day that you can't chase after these big moves if you're not in the position. Like Brad, I know you, Brad, and you're in this position, right? You can't then chase after it. You have to see whether or not we break above this resistance and or are rejected by it. I think there's better places to attack, and that is going to be, for example, on the euro Japanese yen than on the Australian dollar Japanese right now. US dollar breaking out here above this important range we've been. Yeah, I don't say anything. I agree with you. All right, here you look at, we look at charts on the S&P videos in the afternoon that shows where the smart money is. Smart money, you know, retail trades in odd lots. You know, they're trading 1 lot, 3 lots, 7 lots, and institutions, they trade in even number, larger lots. All right. So here we're looking at the US dollar Japanese yen. We broke out this big level of resistance. Look how far this has been in this range going back to into the beginning of April. Finally broken above there today. It looks pretty powerful. This yellow line is really, and this line at 1097, those lines I am highly interested in. If we're able to break above them, then we're looking at a 5-year breakout of this trend line. And that's something like you're just seeing that powerful move on the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. That could happen here on the dollar as well, especially if the dollar starts firming up. It is a dollar debt-based system. Yeah, we've been talking about that here, Alex, how we've seen over the past week or so, we've seen the New York session down and then Asia and London go ahead and slowly drift up. Nick, thanks, brother. Thank you. Jesse, I'd be happy to look at it. Let me keep going here with what's going on first at the US dollar, Japanese yen, and then we'll come back over to it. So, because this is important, I'm looking at it right here, this important resistance being broken here to the upside. Wow, kind of important. So now now that we've broken out of this range, we've been avoiding this. Now that it's broken out of this range, this becomes actually in play. Is it possible that we continue to see a weak yen? Well, we'll just follow what's happening in the charts, right? But if we get a nice rejection, this becomes clarity. When I'm looking for clarity, do I see clarity right now on a lot of the yen pairs? No, I see gasps, exhaustion moves, perhaps, or just further extensions of really volatile moves. But here, this is now where we were avoiding it, is now offering like a safe trade, a bit of clarity. If we come back in here, retest this broken resistance, firm it up as support and come off of it, it's a nice trade into that 5-year trend line resistance. So that's something that's interesting. ABF, what do you mean? Let's take a look here at the financials. So I don't really have much of an insight to add over here at all. It really, I think it's really dependent on what happens with financials is what happens with interest rates. Are we actually on a trajectory to go negative on rates? And if we do, what's going to happen here? The financials are going to crumble, right? Now, is everything awesome? And have we gotten through this mess and are we returning to normal? Jackie, please share the lessons with us. I would like to know what did you learn about the Australian dollar, Japanese yen? Please let us know. Dave, scalping is very difficult. It doesn't make any sense to scalp the foreign exchange. If you want to scalp markets, hey, go ahead and trade the E-minis, the ES. It's the best market in the world for scalping, or the Hang Seng. So I lost my train of thought. I'm not really sure what I could offer here about the financials. In this case, I don't know. I can't offer anything. When I can't offer any insight, obviously I don't. I only speak about what I know and what type of insight I could impart on you. I'm not going to speak from any type. That's why I want to talk about bonds. I'm not going to talk about something that I don't know and or understand. Yeah, I mean, I doubt it too. And there's some people that are firmly against it. At the same time, at the end of the day, all that's happening is that they are trying to hold on to this system as long as they can. And if that means they could get some extra time out of negative rates, well, then they'll do it. All right. Well, usually when they say they're not going to do something, that means they're going to do that. James is happy to help. Happy to help, and as it was said earlier before, Kofkog, I mean, I love this community. There's no question about it. There's no question about it. And I feel like I get back into my analysis here. That's the whole purpose of this, is figuring out what's going on. I don't want to get too sidetracked. I want to keep us going. The conversation today is absolutely fantastic, though. James, thanks for that. I appreciate the support of the channel. I appreciate more so just you acknowledging the fact that you're here, you're learning, you're improving. That's what means a lot to me. So thanks for hitting that home, James. Yeah, Jackie, there you go. This is one of the most important lessons in trading, and we're going to talk about that right now because it is so important. Let's go back to the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. Jackie, I'm glad you brought that up. This is a good lesson for everyone. Listen, the first thing that's going to happen when you're turning the corner to profitability is you're going to stop making big mistakes. We all know what those big mistakes are, right? Trading too much, trading on a small time frame, getting caught up in the chop, trading too big, right? Once you get all those things out of the way, you come to a point where you're about a break-even trader. How do you then move to the next level? How do you become profitable? Then it all comes down to two things. It comes down to picking the better setups finding trending markets, because trending markets have the ability to push through multiple support and resistance levels, where a sideways market does not. Then what else does it come down to? Recognizing what type of market you're in and trading accordingly to it. Then it really comes down to managing your trade. You have to know how to manage a trade. Was there any, look at the 8-hour time frame. Did you ever see after you got going on this trade, and after got going means taking out this last swing high over here, did you ever see the 8-hour come in and make a lower low? Was there any reason to exit that trade? Right? Think about it. In the training course, when I get into people, when we get into the portion of really working on managing trades, you know, depending on the type of market you're in, but traders, they do learn to cut their losses short, but then they're also taking their profits too soon. The difference between being a successful, profitable trader and not is learning to manage your trades. And that means taking a lot of stop losses at break even or for smaller profit, because you have to be, it's actually the few trades you take during the year that you make most of your profit from. And if you're taking your profits early, you never have a chance. You never have a chance. There was absolutely no indication yet to take any type of profit. Now, as we come into this resistance here, Brad, if you're listening, as you come into this resistance over here, if you do see price not be able to break through it, if you see price start to get caught up over here, it could consolidate and break through. That's super positive and that's good. It could consolidate in this area. Look at down at this line over here at 73.40, right? It could consolidate between there and here and then break up. But if you see it consolidating and then roll over, then that's where you got to get out of the trade. That will be your first indication. You have no indication whatsoever, you have to get out of that trade. Yeah, Adam, I got stopped out on that one, though. All right, let's keep going. That's right, Anaya. Patience. Let's check in on the S&P this morning. Everyone's freaking out about a tight little range we're in, right? Tight little range. All right, let's keep going. We're looking for a trade yet? Are we looking for a trade? Not yet. Not yet. We're letting this thing play out. We'll keep watching it. We'll keep watching it. There's no trade here to be had yet. What's happening with the DXY? Trading back off again, right? Gold continues its nice run, outperforming silver today. Bitcoin definitely consolidating nicely after that big move up yesterday. Euro Japanese yen, definitely watching this one into this resistance today over here. I agree. The yen is showing no signs of backing off, not looking to fade it by any means whatsoever, but I will be looking to see if we still rejected off this resistance. What happens if we break above this resistance over here? I think then this thing has some room to run, right? There's not another resistance that I'm looking at. I could put in that line over there where I have that yellow line. All right, so if we break above, then we got to wait this out a little further. All right, what about the New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen? This is coming into an area still. This looks like an exhaustion move on the yen. I need to figure out more about it. Watching these things develop though. US dollar, Japanese yen. This one looks like it's offering the most clarity for me, the safest possible trade. I'll be watching it. All right, let me keep going. Let's look at what's going on with the pound US dollar today. Pound US dollar having a nice move back above the area where it is bullish. So what's going on with the dollar? I don't think this has to do with the riots. We saw the technical break outside of the range. There's no question about that. Does this actually have to do with going back to how the Fed reacted? We talked about when it was happening, it would take about 2 months for the how would you say, the things put in place to have an effect. We had the swap lines. Are we seeing the effects of those things taking place now? I don't know. Could be. Peso coming down to a number where it becomes attractive again. Keep watching that. It kept going. Let's check it out. Wow, look at this beast of a move. Wow. Jason, it's just that each it's just the value of each tick on the ES. It's a tough market to trade though. Listen, trading Forex on the 8-hour time frame, it's an easy way to trade. Easy way to trade. Trading the ES on the 3-minute time frame, it's extraordinarily difficult. You're trading versus all sorts of high frequency trading programs versus the competition is absolutely the highest level possible. So why not make your life as easy as possible? Am I still bearish on the euro? Yeah, I'm extraordinarily bearish on the euro, but not in this moment. I'm extraordinarily bearish on the euro when we move out here, big time. And if you look at this, let me show you why. Let's look at a weekly chart over here, right? Once this trend line over here breaks, the euro is really going to fall apart, right? Again, look at this even range we have over here, right? Every time we come back towards the top of that range, where's that coming in right now? It's coming in right around the high, right around 1.15. That's an opportunity to really short this thing. Do I think that will break out to the upside? I don't think so. I think that the euro, I think its days are actually numbered. I think its days that are actually numbered. I do think that we are going to be seeing sometime in the next few years the euro trading back around 85, 80 cents, maybe even lower. That's what I think of the euro. So short time, I'm a swing trader right now. I'm definitely not bearish on the euro, right? But again, it was above this line where I said, all right, you have to turn bullish technically on the euro. But looking at the euro Japanese yen, and I'm not saying we're not, if we break above this resistance here, at that point we're looking higher, but I'm still looking for places here to possibly look to get short. I have to be honest, I'm not a believer in this recovery. And I know what's happening and I see what's happening, but and it's not just me. Almost every professional investor I know, they're not buying into this, nor do they believe it. S&P continues its dance. It's hard. This is so by the way, let's talk about this for a quick second before we move on. This is really important what you're seeing happen here on the S&P. This is a lot of people up here, right, are trying to get short here, and they're getting fatigued, meaning that there's no follow through. I got short over here, and there was no follow through on this one. Again, over here I got short and there was no follow through on this. Right? Over up here, a lot of traders are getting fatigued. And it's once they get worn out, it's once that they finally give up that this thing could roll over. So the trick is not to get fatigued. Right? So I'm watching this right now. I know it's been difficult. This is fantastic. This is why I didn't chase it to the downside this morning. I'd rather look for an opportunity, if possible, to get short up here. What was the number I pointed out this morning? Well, I'm watching, right, well, just a few points up at 30.68. Watch how price reacts. That was going back. We looked at earlier this morning. We looked at, and yeah, great point, Dennis. Raphael, what if I told you goodbye? All right. So where are we at this morning? Let me check in with all of you. Tesla, what's Tesla doing this morning after that nice follow through? Tesla was really had a nice move off of the news of SpaceX's news, but that was a play towards Elon, and that's cool. So we broke out of here above this resistance, right? Now the next thing to do is watch to see if we come back down and able to confirm that as support. If we do, you could be looking towards a buy side trade here on Tesla. We've talked about once we cleared above that resistance, this was the time to take profit on Tesla. Once we broke above this trend line, that was the time to take profit. And then we said if we got back above this resistance line, confirm that as support, definitely could get long, looking at possibly another shot at the all-time highs. If the market continues, Tesla is going to continue, right? Now, what happens if Tesla, this is a false break and comes back down? Is that a place to get short on Tesla? I don't really like picking tops. There's no question that we're in a strong uptrend over here. I would refrain. I'd rather short the indexes. It's hard for me to look at Disney when this, it's hard for me to look at Disney. But when you know about the company, how could you be a believer, right? How could you be a believer in Disney? When I say you know about the company, I mean, just look what they do to kids. Anyway, I don't want to look at Disney. Bitcoin, by the way, there was a really good question. Do I think that Bitcoin could come back down to 9,500? Yeah, I think Bitcoin could come down to 9,500 for sure. We looked at Bitcoin this morning. I mean, look, if we break above here, the bull market has begun. There's no question about it. The bull market has begun. We are on the verge of the bull market beginning. That's why I've been, talking about how all of this area I've been continuing to accumulate. And if you weren't into Bitcoin, you got to get into Bitcoin, right? This thing, I don't want people to get left behind. Now, is there a possibility we have the difficulty adjustment coming up on Thursday that we could see a rejection over here, come back down, test this trend line? It's possible, and I still have orders in at 91, at 85, and 82, and I hope they get filled. I don't know that they will. I sure hope they get filled. All right. Yeah. All right. I have, I can help you out there, brother. It's kind of important. Clear chaos. Check this video out. This video is by two producers in Hollywood, two producers that are extraordinarily well known. They are the top stuntmen in, they've been in probably every movie you've seen, from Batman to the Avengers to everything. And they had an awakening. And go ahead and check out that movie, and it will enlighten you it will begin your process of understanding. That's all we'll say with that. Ram, the same thing. That video I posted, you could go ahead and you could watch it, and it will really begin to open your eyes. And that's like the G version. That's the G version of what's going on, right? But we all also know what happened with who was the CEO of Disney that just stepped down after he was, had connections to Epstein, right? All right, let's keep going. We don't need to talk about Hollywood and the abuse in this moment. There we go. So S&P rolling it over. DXY under further pressure. Euro still pumping up into this area of resistance right now. And what else are we seeing at the same time? We're seeing the yen exploding. Look at that, taking out that resistance. Blair, what's going on, brother? Goosebumps, good to see you. By the way, we have, again, we have a few more openings before this closes today in the program. Anyone that's taking the course and recommends it, please go ahead and let everyone know why there are spots open. I know that it's how people actually begin to turn profitable, and that's a huge deal. So yeah, Corey, everyone should take a look who hasn't seen that. It's really important. Yep. I agree with you, Christoph. We're just gonna get off that whole tint. There's some links in the description of where you could buy Bitcoin that will be really helpful for you, Tanner. I don't have this at resistance. It's just the pound Japanese yen. I have it coming towards resistance. Let's see where that resistance is. Yep, you're actually right. Who posted that? Carpe diem. There's some resistance right here where you're looking, right? I could see it over here and then over there. You're totally right. Good call. Thank you for that heads up. Jay, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Good to see you, Ireland. Thanks, Brad. Totally appreciate it. Yep. Binance is pretty cool. Funds are Safu. Do I think that the US dollar will reach its latest peak if the market crashes again? So I do think there will come a time again for sure. So first of all, the dollar's still strong on a relative basis. The dollar's still strong over here. Do I think that it has the possibility of taking out 103? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't think we'll have any type of dollar liquidity crisis anytime soon. I've been vocal about that ever since the Fed stepped in, right? I've said that I think what they've done, they've overreacted, and I think that we won't have any dollar crisis anytime soon, but I do think we will have another one. And when that will be, I have no idea, but how will we see it beginning? Again, it all started in the repo market. Once you start seeing the Fed addressing the repo market, increasing liquidity there, then you know that things are breaking. We talked about what's going on in California, that they may be foregoing or allowing companies to break commercial leases. That's going to affect the credit markets. That could then, affect global liquidity. Right now, everything is awesome, but nothing. I don't have it. Rate DLG. Thank you for asking. But just go ahead. Listen. There's risk with everything. I'm using BlockFi. I'm curious to how they're able to keep paying this interest. I'm curious if it's sustainable. And I proposed my doubts yesterday on Twitter directly to one of the investors. I know that right now they have a bunch of VC money. They have Coinbase, they have Gemini, and they have the boys at Morgan Creek behind it, all well respected within the industry. But they have a ton of VC money, so they're able to pay out all this interest on your crypto holdings. I don't know how that's sustainable, how long that could last. I do know that I have funds there, and that it was a pretty seamless process to do it. But thank you for asking. Peter, absolutely, brother. I really enjoyed this session. That, Ron, that's the single most important chart going on right now. Let's see if I could find it for you so that you can take it. I'll share the chart with you right now, all. All right, how do I get a link? This is the single most important chart in all of the markets. There, it's right there. There it is. Liquidity, look for swap lines around the world. There's something weird, be careful. Yeah, so all of those money out of the swap lines need to be paid back in dollars. So the question was, do I think that we're going to see are we going to take out 1.3 on the dollar? I absolutely believe that we're going to take out 1.3 on the dollar. Now, timing is a whole nother story. And I can't put any, all I could do is live on my swing trader time frame, right? That's all I could do is live out there. I have no idea when that's going to happen, but yeah, I would bet on it. So back to here to plan B, stock to flow model, quant of Bitcoin. So this red dot, right? This red dot has kicked off every single bull market so far. Here we go. We printed that red dot and we're on the verge technically of breaking out above 10,400 and the bull market starting. You could use this as a guide to know when to buy, sell, and begin accumulating Bitcoin going forward. This is the single most important chart. I have it as a screensaver. This is how this is the way to trade Bitcoin. Model 3 Life, when are you taking me for a ride in the Tesla? I want it. It's Ram, I just posted the link for you, brother. This is a good one. It's a good one. The video. And it's G. I was able to watch that one with my wife. Some of them are disturbing. All right. Let's keep this going. This is not a website. This is Twitter. That's Twitter. All right. Let me check in on the S&P here right now. All right. We have about 40 minutes to the London close going on over here. I'm watching this one. I'm watching this now as we're coming back into this area of resistance right now. Let's see what happens. Before I get off, I'm going to let you know. Jay, I don't know that the dollar is affecting the S&P here. I've seen, I think that we have bigger forces in play than the dollar affecting the S&P here right now. Euro Australian dollar. Let's check it out. Alan, absolutely, brother. Thank you so much. You got it. Absolutely. Oh, is my time off? Hold on a second. Wow. Sorry about that. My clock is completely off over here. Thanks, Blair. I know, Anaya, but we've seen lately, we've seen different, right? We've seen the S&P climbing with the strong dollar. Isan, did you see the link I posted over there? Try to find it for you. I don't have it right now. I want to get back to it. I posted a link. If anyone has it, they can't repost it. Isan, send me email. I'll send you the link later. All right. Euro, yeah, Edward, let's take a look at the euro British pound. We haven't looked at it. Right now, what's going on here, the UK has signaled that they're willing to be flexible in negotiations for their exit if also the EU is willing to do so. I can't imagine the EU is going to be flexible with England, with the UK, because they don't want them to leave, right? Once they leave, that is another piece of the fracture. Eugene, what do you want to see updated daily? No. Well, there are sites where you could see updated daily, but you don't need to see that updated daily. It's updated maybe monthly, monthly. Long, you know, higher perspective. Take your perspective out. You know, track it on a monthly time frame. Track it on a monthly time frame, Eugene. We're the people following that, myself and others, we're looking, you know, we're looking in terms of months. All right, so euro, British pounds, what are we looking at over here? Again, so right now the UK has signaled that they would be flexible. If the EU is, will the EU be able to? I don't know. I mean, we're back into support. And now if we resume back up above this resistance right over here, is that a buy signal? It is a buy signal. Is that a buy signal that you want to take? That's another question. That's not a question. What's a good time frame for scalping on Forex? The 4 hour. 4 hours is a good time for scalping on Forex. All right. Let me peek back in over here. All right, this is becoming interesting. Let's see if we trade back above this trend line over here at this point. If we trade above right here, 370, 372, at that point, you got to let it go. There's nothing to do. If we're rejected over in this area, though, that might open up a trade. Let's blow through some charts right now. Let's start with the US dollar, Mexican peso. All right. Coming down into this area of support down at 21.35. I have to say, pesos is beginning to be attractive here to the long side. That looks like about a 50% retracement if you were looking at fibs. If anyone has that and is looking at it, just let me know. Or maybe it's even the resistance itself. Is that, there's nothing else to go on that line, is there? All right, so Canadian dollar, US dollar, Canadian dollar. Taking out an important area here. Looking forward to maybe even closing this gap over here. Interesting play going on. Wow, look at that since the breakdown, what we've seen. All right, it is what it is. All right, so for me, there's no play whatsoever. And it looks like there's going to be a long time before that picks up again. Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. Wow, we're seeing huge breakouts occur. This resistance over here. Yep, actually, Cough Cat was mentioned. Right now, I'm on the sidelines. There's nothing I could do. There's nothing I could do here. What could I say? US dollar, Swiss franc. Interesting that it's holding up here. Holding on. That Swiss franc has been weak. We've been talking about the Swiss franc in there helping weak. We're seeing the US dollar actually making gains versus the yen, but not here versus the franc. Interesting. US dollar, Japanese yen. This is one I will be tracking. New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Coming up to an area of interest. No question about it. No question about it. This is pretty strong support over here. New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc. Look at these recoveries. Insane. Insane. Who thinks that we're going to see a continued push of this move, or does this look like the exhaustion portion of the move? Cameron continued. Nice. I don't check out the JXY. It's a little, it's almost, the JXY is almost, right? Let me show you. It's almost, this must be very, I don't know how the index is weighted, but I'm assuming it's weighted heavily towards the US dollar in a similar way that the DXY is weighted heavily towards the euro, and then followed by the yen. But this seems to be weighted heavily towards the dollar. I think by really focusing on just the Japanese yen pairs, it gives me a bit better of an edge. How about before the crisis, though? Before the crisis, what was going on? Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar were weak currencies, right? GBTC is an excellent play if you're looking, if you're, for example, in an IRA, Roth IRA, to look for a play towards Bitcoin, right? Now, there is a premium. You're paying a premium here, and that varies. Generally speaking, I would say roughly 20%. There's also a 2% fee you play on this investment. But again, for me personally, inside an IRA, it's a good play on Bitcoin itself. We looked at Raoul Pal talking about, believe it's out of the Canadian exchange, though, another one being Galaxy. This just continues. You're coming into right now. I'm seeing some exhaustion also. And listen, I got out of my long position at resistance. Jason, good trade. Good trade. Good trade. Wow. They are pushing. They are pushing. Yep, JC. Testing the trend line here on the S&P 500. We're going to see whether or not we are rejected here or continue to push up, and the magic continues. What a day for risk today. Look at these moves seeing on the Australian dollar. Look at these moves we're seeing on the Japanese yen against the yen. Absolutely, really, these are the moves we started seeing in the middle of the crisis. 2% moves on FX, right? Wow. Unbelievable. You would never know. You would never know the unemployment numbers. You would never know that many cities in the United States are burning. You would never know that the social fabric of trust is being deteriorated by looking at the market right now. The market is just loving it. This is a lot. Hey, Dr. Kenneth Power, I'm looking forward to working with you. I'm more psyched than you, so looking forward to doing it. What? Oh, back to Stanley Druckenmiller. It's so funny. Stanley Druckenmiller, arguably one of the best investors of all times by far, was talking about how he FOMO'd into the top of the dot-com bubble, right? And if you have to have a sense that right now we're getting towards a point in the markets where that FOMO is real, that we have the possibility here of a lot of money now jumping in. I'm not going to do it. There's no way. I remain skeptical 100% all across the board, right? Now, timing is everything. Timing is everything. No, I'm just looking at price alone. I'm looking at these moves up, and I'm not saying that's going to happen at all. So look at the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. We're now coming into another area of resistance, and the thing is powerful, right? There's no way that I am looking to fade this. There's no way. If we trade back up into this trend line over here, all the way up at 76, is that still resistance on a long-term frame? And if we're rejected there, could I take a short there? Yeah, but right now above this trend line over here, right? Should you be like looking actually to be buying off support? Yeah. I'm not trying to call a top. But I am trying to refrain myself from even having the slightest any type of notion or desire to come in here and try to fade this. Losers try to fade markets. Yeah, Nate, and that's where I am. And you know what? Like, so a lot of people don't understand this. A lot of people don't understand this. It is, it's perfectly okay to be on the side, not participating, waiting for things to become a little bit clearer. This is not clear right now. Jordan, at the beginning of your stream, you said how you weren't going to get in the Australian dollar, but it's moved 300 pips since then. The Australian dollar, Japanese yen has moved 300 pips since we got on this live stream. No, that's not true. So it's moved about 70 pips since we got on the live stream. Well, that sounds about right. Hold on a second. Right? How long we've been on the live stream? We've been on the live stream now for 90 minutes. So yeah, it's moved about 60 pips since I got onto it. But of course not. There's no way I would. Luis, I'm not having trouble understanding the comment, brother, because that's not how I trade. I don't know where to begin on that, how to clear that up for you, Luis. But so it's moved 60 pips since we got on the live stream. Yes, there's no way I would get into that trade because that's not how I trade. I don't chase after price like that. Yeah, this happens to be an enormous trend day where we're seeing these huge expansion of ranges happening. How often does that happen? The last time it happened was during the crisis. I don't see anything. I don't see it. Yeah, but that's the difference between like there are those that look like looking for action. The market's open. Where can I get into a trade? You can't make money like that. You got to wait for clarity. J2O, just send me an email. Send me an email, brother. Yep, markets are absolutely crashing up right now. It's all good. I'm stalking and I'm ready. Yeah, Jordan. That's how you make money. Gotta be patient. Alexander, thank you for clearing that up. Fading means like right now on the Australian dollar, Japanese yen, as you're seeing price trading up so sharply, trying to come in over here and catch the top, right? to make, to catch the top and hope that this wicks down. Often when you see moves to this extent, they don't keep going straight up, and just as quick as they come up, they do happen to wick down. And there's the possibility that we end this day back in towards the support and or lower. That's a huge move. You're talking about 40 pips, right? And it's entirely possible, but trying to do that, trying to trade like that, is the thing is that every once in a while you get yourself into a really good trade where you actually catch the top, and then that's ingrained in your brain that that's a good thing to do. But overall, it's a losing man's game. You'll never have a chance of making money long-term in the markets. It makes no sense to do that, right? That's why I'd rather sit here, wait for something to be clear, and then go ahead and take that. I mean, there's a strong force in the market right now, so I don't really foresee it happening. Weeping Angel, you can't. The markets right now are kind of like steamrolling, right? So I'm kind of happy right now to kind of sit back and not get involved. I wish I was in the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. I wish I was in a lot of these pairs right now. Because this trade should have been in. I'm glad that some of those like in the trading, like Brad, are in that pair, and I'm rooting for them, and I want to help them, get the most profit out of that. So, Greg, a good place to start is risk 0.5% per trade. So, I agree, Magath. The thing is, if you want to chase the trade, there was a position, but we don't chase the price. We don't trade Forex below 8 hour. If you do, you're in the wrong place. That's absolutely correct. I'm perfectly happy with 50 like-minded people here who are serious about their future and investing, being with me here every day, working together. I'm not looking for those looking to check out, let's go buy Hertz, right? Why is old Robinhood buying a bankrupt company? That's not what this is for. I think there's a subreddit, Wall Street bets or something like that, right? So here we go. New Zealand dollar is Japanese yen is actually better if you're going to short. Is that what you're saying? I think this is on my watch list. If we get rejected here by this resistance, or looking at this one in the future, those are possibilities. Oh, that's the euro Japanese yen. I was just like, wow, that looks tasty. This one also coming up into this area of resistance. Huge move on the yen today. Let's check out if Forex Live has anything to offer about the yen move today. I guess just coronavirus fears. That's basically all I can see. 2 headlines saying the yen swoons as the coronavirus fears swain, and then also something else about central banks dialing down the negativity. So what does that mean next, right? This is what we're seeing. There you go. That's what we talked about earlier. Watch out for the taper tantrum. And that's why the markets are not attractive up here. That's why they're not attractive up here. Right now, the markets are pricing in, I think, everything that makes sense. And I think they got it right. But what's going to happen, is this an attractive place to buy? Not for me. Not for me. Regardless of what anyone is able to see right now, there is an enormous amount of damage that has been done to the markets as a whole, and it's going to take a long time for them to recover. Mr. I've never had the opportunity to visit Chile. I lived in Argentina for quite a bit of time. I would love to visit Chile one day. Beautiful, beautiful country. Yeah, so I'm a big fan of Paul Tudor Jones as well. He's betting on inflation though, and I continue to be in the deflation camp. So that's a really good point. Skylar, 4 black trades because of your guidance. I'm used to never ever end up losing scalpers. Skylar, thank you, man. So Paul Tudor Jones, I'm a huge fan. By the way, I'm an enormous fan of his, and he's a great trader. I don't know what his time preference is. I don't know. You know, he's got a large amount of capital he needs to position ahead of time, right? No question about that. And he's, like I said, inflation could happen overnight, right? Inflation will happen overnight. He's positioning for inflation. I'm still in the deflation camp. I want to talk about that with you, maybe even in today's S&P video. I'm a firm believer that right now, you know, QE continues to be deflation. Yeah, 100%, Rom. That's exactly how it goes. It is deflation and then inflation. You guys all know that I love gold. I love Bitcoin. I'm holding a bunch of silver. Absolutely, I'm in that camp 100%. But right now, we are in that deflationary type environment, and yeah, it will lead to inflation. Also, Mike Maloney has a video. I haven't watched it, but he has a video. It's called First Deflation, Then Inflation. That's probably a really good resource for people to look. Philip, glad to have you on board. I'm looking forward to helping you turn the corner. And I know that as long as you're willing to let go of what you used to do, that I'll be able to take you there. Absolutely. Some people think it's too simple. Can you imagine that? Yeah, I don't listen to Mike Maloney, but I like Mike Maloney. I've saw some of the episodes of The Hidden Secrets of Money, and it's really cool introductory stuff, right? And I would definitely point people towards Mike Maloney. And so yeah, Alexander. Thanks, Luke. Absolutely, Luke. Luke, you need to email me. I need to catch up exactly on where you're at, because I need to know exactly where all of my students are at. Everything going up. We're watching. I'm keeping everyone out. Unless you're managing a trade, then you are the bomb. I'm so happy for you. Thanks, Reg. Just if you learn something, right? My pairs in yellow are the ones that I'm watching right now. And right now, I'm not looking to enter any trade. Please see about is that, without a question, in 1 second, why that's still available. And as you all know, it could be a few weeks or more before it will be again. If again, you want to go ahead and get into the program, that's not sustainable. That's not going to work out well for you today. Thanks, Alexander. I love the markets. It's so true. Thank you for that. So, wow. So, I didn't come close to see it coming back in the end, you know, in April. It was the day that the swap lines were open to the Australian Central Bank. So some trades you see coming and you don't take, and those hurt. There's no way I saw this enormous reversal coming in the Australian dollar across the board. I didn't see it, and there's no way that I could have seen it coming. It wasn't even on my it wasn't even in my reality. Pound, Australian dollar. Listen, I have a feeling that this trend could continue. If I'm looking to play against the Australian dollar, it's not versus the pound, right? And right now we're not looking to trade against the Australian dollar, right? So this becomes, you know, look at any point possible to continue to sell off resistance. You have to be patient here. You have to wait for the days and or weeks ahead, and to look to sell off strong resistance. Here we go. We got our trend line. coming up. That's the area we said we were looking for. Now we're waiting to see if we get some lower lows here. Let's check it out even on the 15-minute time frame. No, I don't want it on the 15. Let's check out the 1 hour. That might be a little bit more enticing. Yeah, Don's bullish bias on the euro US dollar ever since it's broken out above the 1.11 level, right? This strong resistance over here, right? Bullish bias here. I mean, long term and in intermediate term, even let's see what happens on Thursday with the ECB. I'm a euro bear, but right now we don't fight the tape. We look at what's happening on the charts. And right now, this is definitely a strong bullish bias over here as the dollar is weak right now, right? So the Fed, is the Fed giving up though, right? When I say is the Fed giving up, we're seeing the amount of QE purchases dwindling, right? They can't like the situation they're in. I'm taking a poke at it. I'm taking a poke at it. I'm taking a poke at it. Hey, Rob, you said you're not seeing my posts. What do you mean by that, brother? What do you mean by that? Oh, yeah, but look at that. Boom. Someone was looking for 95 today. Someone was looking for 95 today. You got it. Yeah, Jay, I took a short on the S&P off the retest. I got a very tight stop loss here for me on the S&P. I got a stop loss over here, right up here at 30.75. If we get to hit it, I'm out of the trade, and I'm looking down, way down over here, about 90 pips lower. 90 points lower. So my risk reward going into the trade is pretty phenomenal. And I'm not saying I will even take profits. I will watch if we get down here, what price does and how it reacts. I'm only concerned when I get into a trade to watch where my stop loss is. I'm not looking for my take profit out of the go. So I hope someone got us some fills over there on Bitcoin. 505, Cameron. Thank you for that. I don't know. I have no idea what happened. So listen, I'm zero concerned about Bitcoin could come down to trade to 8,200 and I won't even blink right now, right? And I'll get actually another fill in an order. I'll be happy about that. We talked about it early in the session. We looked at Thursday. There's a difficulty adjustment. We could see a little bit of volatility, over the very near term in Bitcoin, and not until we clear above 10,400. We said it in the beginning of the stream. The bull market has not started yet, right? It has not started. Nice, Anaya. Yeah, I'm with you. I got 85 and 82. I'm hoping they got filled. Nice, DJ. You gotta so for Bitcoin, everyone can kind of get the sense that I have a little bit of a larger time horizon here, right? And that's going back to the lovely chart that we looked at a couple of times today, right? That was the chart of Plan B, and right. This is all. Look at all of this blue. This is all accumulation, right? We're not looking to sell until we start getting, up until like this area over here. This is more or less about 28, 27 months into the next halving. That's when we're going to become Bitcoin bears. Bears on Bitcoin, extraordinarily bearish. Love Bitcoin, but I'll be a price wise, I'll be a bear. Right now, we're just entering the bull phase. I'm not concerned about these moves on Bitcoin. I'm looking for more opportunities to accumulate Bitcoin. And just so everyone's clear, I will be looking to accumulate Bitcoin for the net up and through the end of December of 2020, right? And I expect we should be somewhere up here then. But all of this area will be accumulation for Bitcoin for me. Yeah, Jack. So someone on the channel actually sent me a video on that, and I watched the video, and they basically said, though, the Russian lawmaker said, though, that it would still be legal for people in Russia to purchase Bitcoin through any exchanges not based in Russia. So they would make cryptocurrency illegal, except that you are allowed, as long as you claim it on your taxes, to purchase Bitcoin out of country. So do I think that will affect Bitcoin whatsoever? Absolutely not. Good discussion today. Really loving it. I really value all of you so much and all of the insight that you bring. Very often I find myself reading the comments on the YouTube videos, specifically the S&P one in the afternoon. And there's a lot of really, really great insight shared by everyone. And I'm really, I learn more about the markets there now than I do elsewhere. Most elsewhere. I still like Real Vision. Nice. Getting that GBTC order filled. Nice for the patients. That, yeah, AJ, I got some really good alternatives down. Oh, they're not. Let me put that in for you. Let me get that in the description of the video for you. I apologize about that. There you go, brother. Right in the description. Yeah, frugalholic. That's a really good thought experiment to go down. And if the U.S. were to ban on ramps, right, which would mean what? Coinbase, Gemini. I don't know. I can't imagine those guys. Those guys got connections, right? Look, the U.S. Senators have already looked at Bitcoin, and they know that they can't control it. They've already said that they can't control it. Vladimir Putin has also said he knows that they cannot control it. You can't control it. It's impossible. Now they could ban it, make it illegal to own Bitcoin, and they could close off on ramps such as Coinbase and Gemini and Kraken. But initially Bitcoin would definitely feel a price shock because of that, and then after that, they would go ahead and I think the price would eventually rebound. And then because that people realize that the reason that they banned it was because the government sees it as a threat to the dollar, I think that it would only make Bitcoin stronger in the long run. Well, I think the point of using Bitcoin is that it is an alternative to this fiat system, to the dollar debt-based fractional reserve system that's unsustainable, and it's going to collapse, and it's going to be a disaster. Right now, the Australian dollar Japanese is showing enormous risk on, and this is the barometer for risk on, right? And it's shooting up like a rocket, right? That's why you don't want to try to even think about fading that. That trade looks absolutely great, phenomenal. Could anything come in and shock the markets? Would I show you my statements? HM, who's HM? Is this a bull trap, a bear trap on the S&P? The S&P has shooken off everything, right? I'm short here right now. I got my stop loss in at 30.75, looking to take a poke at it as it's rejected here by this trend line over here. Once I get into a trade, I will not exit until my stop loss is hit. Ram, I don't have any thoughts, to be honest, whatsoever. Leverage could work for you or against you, but I don't have any thoughts whatsoever. What is XTC? I'm not even familiar with it, Russ. I can't talk about it. I won't talk about anything that I don't believe that I could offer some type of of valuable insight. If I don't know, I don't know. But I'm not even familiar with XTC is. Yeah, 100%. So let me take a look and review this trade with everyone. Definitely. So, by the way, we're looking here at the S&P 500. We're focusing, look over here on this channel we're in, right? You see this is the upper end of the channel. This is the lower end of the channel. And we've been within this range, right? Now, is it possible that we are able to break out here to the upside? 100%. There's no question about it, right? Now, every time you get towards the lower end of the channel, and I tried to play this breakdown over here, right? Every time you get towards the upper end of the channel, the risk to the upside becomes a little great, right? You really don't want to be positioning yourself long over here. Now, what happens if we're able to break out and then come back and confirm it and retest upwards, then it becomes a safer trade. But right now, this channel is still in effect. We're towards the upper end of this channel. So I'm watching that, right? Now, I definitely continue to see the strength of the buy side of the market. Look, I woke up this morning to the futures green. Why the US is basically deteriorating, right? And the futures are green. So it's a strong, strong market, no question about it. But as you could see this morning, watch this trend line over here. Let me make it a little bit darker for you, right? We traded above it, came back down. This is when a lot of people were like, the markets are failing, the markets are falling, the markets are falling. And I was like, well, we're kind of in no man's land. But if we come back up and we test this line over here and are rejected, I said, as long as we stay right below 30.71, right around that area, at that point, if we reject that trend line, that's an opportunity for me to take a poke at the downside. And the reason I'm doing it over here is, first of all, the S&P I trade much different than foreign exchange. Foreign exchange, I will only trade with the trend. I'll only buy off support and uptrends. I'll only sell off resistance and downtrends. S&P, I'm looking for intraday positions, right? Intraday positions I could possibly turn into longer term swing trades. On this trade itself right now, if this trade goes in my favor, and right now, all I know is where my stop loss is. That's the only thing. If the market shakes this off, if we trade above 30.75, at that point, you know, I'm out of the market, you know, but I'm not looking for a take profit. If we come down towards the support over here at 29.72, that's what the first area that I would be looking to take profit, right? And I'll watch how price reacts, and I'll see. I would prefer, right? I would prefer to get a look at 29.47, but we'll see. I don't know how much the market will give me, or if it's even will go in my favor. We'll see what happens. But that's why I took the trade. This is an intraday trade. It's an intraday trade based off of what happened as we fell below this trend line, came back up, tested it, confirmed it as now resistance. And now I'm looking here to see if this will fall in my favor or not. Once I get into a trade, I don't even, you know, overall you take enough of them, and, you know, commentators say, and it works out in your favor because the risk through, look at the risk through. I don't know if it's going to work out in my favor or not. As you could see, I'm completely detached from it. I'm not emotionally tied to it. I expect every time I take a trade, the stop loss is going to get hit. That's what I'm prepared for mentally every time I take a trade. Now, my risk to reward happens to be about, if I could do the 1 to 6, you know, going into the first area I'm looking at. Not such a bad thing. I don't know, Jack. It's a really good question whether or not I think the Hong Kong peg will break. Listen, Kyle Bass is the person who for a long time has been talking about that. He's the expert. He's the person that you should be looking to on that. Kyle Bass. Just search Kyle Bass Hong Kong peg and find out what he's saying about it. You know. But you know, we saw over the weekend there was a run on all Hong Kong banks trying to get dollars out, and there aren't enough dollars. I don't know. It's not my thing. Morris, look at this comment from Morris. That's what I thought. You don't make profits. Your core seller's fake trader. Not even showing your statements. Ha ha. You don't make money from the markets from the chorus fake ASF. Morris, did your mother drop you on your head as a child? What is wrong with you? John, the best, so first of all, the foreign exchange is a fantastic market to trade. I think the best market, it's first of all, the fact that it's open 24 hours a day is a huge advantage, because in today's world, things happen around the clock, right? Things happen around the clock, and to be in a position that you don't have the ability to exit until the market opens, it's not such a good thing. Now, the difference between cryptocurrency or Bitcoin over Forex is that trades 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that's finance 2.0. That's actually a way better market and the future of the markets, right? But right now, what we're looking at is the fact that, all right, I was just hoping to catch a little bit of wreck on him, right? As far as the best pairs to trade, so you want to look at the majors, all right? So for example, the euro, all US dollar pairs, euro US dollar, Australian dollar US dollar, the British pound US dollar, the US dollar Japanese yen, all right? The New Zealand dollar US dollar, and then you also want to look at those versus the yen. Those are probably the best pairs to trade. So, you also see I also have some Swiss franc pairs in here. And that was really during the crisis because I was leaning into the Swiss franc pairs during the crisis. Outside of those type of circumstances, I don't focus on the Swiss franc pairs generally. I don't ever paint myself into a box. Yeah, Sharon. So by the way, on absolutely good question. Sharon's asking, before I entered the S&P 500, I was taking a look at different time frames. Could I go over my logic? Absolutely. So the whole thing is, again, foreign exchange, it is black and white for me. I trade the 8-hour time frame always. I avoid the Asian session always, except if the Bank of Japan or another Australian central bank, New Zealand central bank is making a huge policy announcement. If the Bank of Japan tomorrow restarts QE, all right, if they're coming out with a bazooka, I'll be involved. Actually, the best trade I ever made in my life was back when 2013, when the Bank of Japan started QE. So why did I check different time frames on the S&P? I trade different time frames. It depends on the time of day. Generally speaking, it's anywhere from the 1 hour and even to the 5-minute time frame. The 5-minute I will trade, especially the first 40 minutes of trading. When markets are moving fast, I could be found on the 5-minute time frame. Now, also, I would say generally the 30-minute is where I hang out. The 15-minute, right, during the market open, often. It depends on how fast the market is moving, Sharon. It really depends on how fast the market is moving, what time frame I'm looking for when I enter the S&P 500. So I'm sorry that's fluid. I could give more or less exacts on Forex and foreign exchange. With the S&P is an advanced market, right? This is not for beginners. If you want to learn to make money, learn to make money on foreign exchange. It's a fantastic, great market. S&P is a much more advanced market. It's fluid, and there's just simply not any type of black and white rules like that. AJ, if you can't sleep through the night when you have trades on, it just means one thing. This actually comes from Larry Williams. Larry Williams has the all-time recorded high for a year. I think it's 13,000%. But he basically said something that stuck with me a long time ago as I went on my journey. If you can't sleep at night, it means your positions are too big. And at the same time, if you could sleep well and safe and sound, then maybe your positions are too small. Bitcoin, again, has that difficulty adjustment coming up. That adjustment is coming up and could definitely continue to put some. It's on Thursday. We looked at that at the beginning of the live stream. That could continue to put some pressure on Bitcoin. My perspective is I'm following the dots. We're in a red dot. We're about to begin this bull market takeoff, right? So I'm just looking to accumulate. How do I accumulate? I have orders in at different areas of supports. Let's check in on the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. Let's see if that trajectory is continuing. Casper, that's an interesting question about what's my view on this, on the yen swinging back right now. So, I mean, this is uber bullish here, Australian dollar, Japanese yen on the breakout. I'm not really focused in there, but I'm gonna be watching closely here on the euro, Japanese yen. If we do get a rejection over here, I could see myself possibly, if this holds, this resistance here holds, and then during London, I'm able to get an entry, you know, or New York tomorrow, getting short here on the euro Japanese yen, without a question. For me and the way I trade, and again, I could see something crystal clear right here on the foreign exchange. Even if I knew here that this was going to drop 50 points, I would not take the trade. I won't take any trade that's outside my strategy. And the reason is because once you have a strategy that works in the market, by works, I mean that you profit, you will not trade against it at any time whatsoever. And I will not. So for me, this means further patience. This means waiting to my correct time of day. If this resistance holds here, and then I get a signal during London or New York tomorrow, I will be looking to go ahead and possibly take a short trade over here. I'm also looking here at the New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. That also looks attractive for the same exact reasons. It also looks attractive for the same exact reasons. I'll be watching them both. I'm also watching the US dollar, Japanese yen. And this looks like if we are able to come back in here and test this broken resistance and confirm that as support, that might offer a trade between here and here. This looks like clarity to me. And when I say clarity, it's I'm just looking for high probability setups. I'm not looking for where the action is. I'm not looking for where the volatility is. I'm looking where I could take a piece out of the middle of the trend, right? I'm looking for the easy money because there's nothing easy about trading, right? So this resistance over here, now that it's broken, we were stuck in this range for so long, right? We tried to break down out of it, failed. Is this maybe a failed break to the upside? Maybe, but I'll take that trade. I'll highly consider taking this trade if we come back down and test this as support and it holds as support. So the things that I have in yellow, I'm watching, and I'm going to go over the charts a little. I'm not watching the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. I'm not looking to get short on the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. It's too strong. There's no way. Am I looking for a long? Not yet. This thing is way oversold and overbought. And overbought could remain overbought for an extended period of time, but it's not time for me to look to go ahead and buy into any type of support yet. It's in an uptrend. If I zoomed out, right, even up to this red line up here, it's in a downtrend. But I'm avoiding that right now. That thing is not stable. Base hit the market. Pete Rose, man, he should be in the Hall of Fame. Base hit, base hit, base hit. You don't need to swing for the fences, right? And there are times to swing for the fences. Everyone who is in here remembers as we entered the crisis, I was like, all right, everyone, now you want to be looking to turn your trades into position trades. You want to hold them longer than normal. Now's the time to look for the home runs because that's what the market was doing. Now, I'm going to be very honest with you. I completely messed up. For me, this was a home run. I took this trade. No. This trade over here. This was the gap. This is the trade I got into right over here, right? And I sold it down here. And I thought I was a hero. because I made such good money, but I should never have sold that quick. I should never have sold that quick. Both these pieces, this piece and this piece we got. Yeah, so we went over that, just why I entered this trade. I have no idea if it's going to work out or not. I assume it'll get stopped out, but right now it's falling into profit. I got to get below this trend line over here for me to start feeling comfortable in that trade. So until we're below there, I'm assuming I get stopped out. But I reviewed that about 10 minutes ago on the live stream, and I will look at that again this afternoon. Review that really quick. Maybe, I hope so. Thank you, brother. But again, every trade you enter, it's better to assume that you're getting, John, thanks, brother. Thank you so much. And thanks for everyone who's coming here and hit the like. I'm kind of excited to the fact that, when the channel blew up and all of a sudden we went from having 50 people, the same 50 people in here for 5 or 6 months. And then all of a sudden overnight, we had like 2,400 people in here. And it was a little chaotic. I kind of like the feel of the group now as we're in right now, right around at 1,000. It's, it definitely solidifies the tribe a little bit more. It makes it so that people are more on the same page instead of people, asking what's ZN doing, so it's kind of cool. Daniel, it's up at 30.75. I'll take the stop loss if I'm out of that trade and get out of it quickly. Thanks. Vinkat, thank you for taking the time to let me know that. That's the stuff that keeps me really motivated. Really knowing that it's helping is awesome. So thank you for that. I've been losing all my games. Tiger Man, again, it's open right now. The course is phenomenal. The course is phenomenal. If you want to change your trading, take the course and work with me. You continue watching these live streams. It's going to change. It's going to change you as well. It depends how invested you are. Dennis, brother, let's get those tacos. Miguel, thank you so much. Min, I wish I could pronounce these names. I'll just give you a shout out, Min. Thank you. Stockton, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's one of the most important lessons, Tom. That's one of the most important lessons. We always talk about our favorite analogy of the predator. All right. A feline out on their African savanna. It doesn't run at the first gazelle it sees. These guys take their time. I know I get to watch a lot of this with my kids. They get to take their time stalking their prey, setting a trap, looking for the weakest link, and then waiting for the right time to attack. That's how it works. That's how it works. David, what? We got an awesome group, a small group, but an awesome group of female traders in here. No question about it. Absolutely glad you're here with us too. It's small percentage, but the ones we have in here are ultra solid. I don't know. I just don't focus on the NASDAQ. Nope. I cannot do that for you. This is not a place for that. But if you're serious about changing how you view the market, just simply watch and spend some time, and then you will know the signals for yourself. Ben, thanks. Ben, thank you for that, man. Thank you for that genuine endorsement. Roman, which trade do you in, Roman? John, thank you so much. Jay, thank you. AJ, I love that analogy. We'll talk about it a lot because it's so relevant. Roman, what trade are you in? Wow, Alistair Design. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. The Australian dollar from 55 all the way here without confirmation. One more time on the bottom. I don't know, Mo. I don't know. I don't know, Mo. I don't know. Listen, I don't try to make predictions. I'm making one kind of on the euro. I understand that. I'm making one on the dollar long term. I understand that. I'm making one on Bitcoin. But generally speaking, I don't make predictions. I'm looking to trade what's happening. Do I think that we come down and eventually take? Yeah. Well, listen, I'm in the camp of the deflation before inflation. I'm in the camp that until this thing breaks, and what's going to cause the system to break is going to be a strong dollar. I'm all in that camp. I think that what we're seeing at right now is temporary. When I say temporary, I have no idea when it's going to break again. That could go on for 6 months, could go on for 3 years. I have no idea. Nice, Seth. Congratulations, Seth. Definitely, if you don't have this chart, save this to your desktop. Seth, save that chart to your desktop. Kai, they're available right now. They're available right now. I don't know the next time they'll be available. Thank you for you too, and for being here every day. Appreciate you. BB Box MD, thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm glad to be here sharing with you and learning with you guys every day myself, right? So there's one thing that we like in here, right? And that's not only, you know, the analogy of the predator and also getting our tacos, right? So everyone. And by the way, I'm holding my trade until I'm stopped out, or I go ahead and move my stop loss to break even. I don't have any inkling right now outside of anything like that. I'll check in with you later this afternoon. Everyone, thanks for the time together. Thanks for the session. Zeno, looking forward to working with you. Yeah, we'll continue watching Bitcoin. So do you think Bitcoin's in a make or break situation? Not me. I'm expecting the difficulty adjustment on Thursday that could continue to put further pressure on Bitcoin. Do I think that we get the chance to see this lower trend line, possibly even somewhere around 7,600? That would be a gift. I would not bet on that. Jesse, love the new emoji work, gameplay. Jesse, best attitude, best gameplay, emoji gameplay in the world. Peace, stay safe, tacos, and it's almost time to blast off. Wes, thank you. JC, Giles, Kai, looking forward to working with you. Nice move. James, Alan, Roman, what trade are you in? Weeping Angel, the nada. Will, I'm Thomas. I haven't seen your trades in a while. I don't know what you're up to. Got to share more. Always like your trades. AJ, I hope it happens, right? I hope it happens. That would be nice. I like your mindset. Always opportunity right now. And guys, girls, everyone, remember, we're going to become right here. When we change from this color orange to this color orange, we're going to become the bears of Bitcoin. I still love Bitcoin, but at that moment, we're going to turn bearish as can be. Clear chaos. I hope it works out. Some people don't follow me on the trades. Casper, it's awesome. Absolutely, Skylar. Thank you. Paul, absolutely. It was a great session. I really enjoyed it. Cameron, thank you for your comment, talking about being able to hear and sense my passion for the markets. Love the markets. Today was a great day seeing what's going on. I don't have to buy into it logically or intellectually to follow it. That's for sure. Right? So nice, AJ. Did Ethereum block? No, not capitulated. This is Ethereum's just testing this broken resistance right over here. Follow the mouse. Ethereum's just, it looks pretty bullish to me. Vianney, thank you. Jonathan, absolutely. Great day. I really enjoyed it. I'm really grateful. New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc, crushing it, Roman. Let's see. I want to check a look at it. Unbelievable. So similar to the, it's always, so by the way, this was an extraordinarily difficult piece to trade. This was so, when I talk about fatigue, this was it. This was bad. This was bearish over here. People could be selling this and doing the right thing right here, right? Getting stopped out, went above that trend line, right? And then fell right back into it. Hold on, let me zoom in over here. And then fell right back into it, right? So then as you came back above, like breaking above that support is such a hard trade to get into. But here, this is what we look for, everyone. This is what we look for. This pullback into support and then the resumption up right there above the resistance. No, Jonathan, 1,000 likes. I think it's going to be a while before we got Brad. Thank you, man. Great trade, Brad. Great work all around. Really proud of you. Really proud of you. And nice trading. Awesome, Jay. All right, everyone, have a beautiful day. And I will talk to you all tomorrow.